Greetings, brothers and sisters. So, in this section, we'll be touching on a very baneful jar spell. As you can see, I am wearing gloves. That is because all the implements that I'm going to be working with here. So let me explain what you will need in this spell. The only thing that isn't really mandatory is the Baneful Elixir. This shit, as I have said before, kicks baneful workings into overdrive. It complements the other baneful energies and implements and makes them work together. It also intensifies the spell, and it has gotten every single baneful quality that you would want to really aim at your target. So what I've got here is a mason jar. Okay, a basic size mason jar, as you can tell. This is half filled with natural running water that I found. Not just any water, but the part of the stream that I could find that was most violent, that was hitting the rocks at a tremendous speed, that was clashing and was getting stuck in the dirt and the dirtier parts, and was trapped by certain trash. That's the water that I picked up. I then took the water and I then boiled it. And this is what's known as making dead water, because all water is living and contains prana. Boiling water then actually creates what's known as dead water. So the water has no prana, it has no life-giving energies, it has no nutritious or beneficial energies. So that's what we got here. On top of that, we have a lemon. This lemon I've actually left go a little bit out of date, just for that extra bitterness, that extra sourness, that extra, pungentness. It's not even a word, but you get what I mean. Here we have malt vinegar. Also, you're gonna need your knife to cut your lemon. Here we have bat's blood oil, which is perfect for literally causing havoc and chaos to descend upon your targets, cause any discord or strife. Talking about discord or strife, we have two specific herbs here. Mustard seeds, perfect for discord and strife. And then we have cayenne peppers, which is used a lot in a lot of baneful workings. Peppers are used a lot in a lot of baneful workings, a lot of workings with the dead, a lot of workings in necromancy, but it's also great for strife too. On top of that, we have these old rusty bent nails, and we have quite a few of these. We have a handful of these here. On top of that, which is probably the most deadliest of all of these, except for the Baneful Elixir, that's by far the deadliest. But out of the ingredients, we have here Goofer Dust. Goofer Dust. Now this isn't some cheaply bought shit. This is bought by a brand that I really trust, a brand that I know has worked every single time for me when it comes to Goofer Dust. And that's what I've got here, and that's what I'll be using here. On top of that, let me just open this up here. Now what I'm going to do is, I hope you guys can hear me through this. I want to open up that first. I want to get that ready first, okay? So take extra precautions when working with these baneful ingredients. Really, you want to. This may seem like a little much, but trust me, it isn't. Safety first, guys. Safety first when it comes to yourself. Okay? Let me just try and open this here. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to put this apart slowly. Put that here. Right. So now that I've got the Goofer Dust, now that I got the lime, I got everything. I got everything here, and I'm all ready. This spell, this jar spell, not a honey jar spell, this jar spell here is one that you can program with a specific intention, but it is specifically designed to hex, bind, curse, and completely annihilate a target. Not to the point of death, but if that was an intent, that could definitely be done here. They are the implements as far as the jar spell is concerned. Let's move on to the two other vital ingredients that you will need. So what I've got here is this has been sitting on my radionics box for a couple of days, transferring the energy of this particular baneful entity to my target, and it's being completely covered in the baneful elixir. This is the Sigil of Pazuzu. Okay? And I'm just going to put that aside here. And on top of that, I have got the photograph of my target. Now, I'm not going to show the photograph of my target because, well, I'm not stupid. First step, what we want to do is, for that side, we want to get this confused, is we want to get the Goofer Dust ready. When it comes to Goofer Dust, be very careful how much you use. You don't want to be spilling this anywhere. Now, I'm doing it in a fashion which shouldn't really be done. I would suggest you have the gloves on at this point, you have the mask on at this point, but you should be using a teaspoon at least. I'm only going to go for a pinch of this. Just a small little bit. Do not overkill. Do not think more I put in, the more I'll get out of it. That's not the case here. You don't want to overdo it, trust me. I know what I'm talking about. So we have the Goofer Dust in here. Now at this point, I would suggest that you hold your hands over the water, over the Goofer Dust, and you focus on that. You focus on the energy and how it interacts with the water. Now, I won't do that because all of the things that I use here are already consecrated, are already activated. Activating them is becoming aware of them, feeling the energies within them, feeling them intensify. And then the activation will occur. It's almost as if it's already activated. Now, get your malt vinegar. I've opted for malt because it is the darkest of the dark. It is the strongest of the strong, in my opinion, and it is completely foul. There are no, you'll notice I'm not going with any specific measurements here. I am just draining this stuff in as I go along. Magic isn't necessarily a science in the logical aspect of it. Be in a receptive state and know when enough is enough. To me, that's enough. To me, that is enough. There's more than enough. So that's just a little quarter of the way of the jar filled up with the malt vinegar. Okay? Put your hand over it. Sense how that feels. Where is the energy light contained therein? And each time you add a new ingredient, you add a new implement into this, sense it, feel it. Even if you must speak its name, speak its name. Creature of vinegar, spirit of bitterness, I activate you. I activate you. Dead water, water without no life. Water, creature of rage and wrath. I'm feeling almost like a crashing now, almost like a reminding of those waters that I saw when this happened. And I'm sensing the Goofer Dust already intense within that. So I'm not going to go any further with that. Now, next what I'm going to be adding in here is Cayenne pepper powder. And I like working with powder specifically. How much am I adding in, you ask? That's how much I'm adding in. I don't know if you can see that. Just the tip of the blade. Because I'm going with intuition. That's what 90% of this is. It's not measurements. This isn't actual chemistry. I was told, urged to grab that amount, and that's what I done. Follow your intuition. If I put it in, creature of the earth, spirit of the pepper, cause discord, cause uncomfortability, cause discord. I awaken the baneful properties within you. See, because this wasn't activated. It's not difficult. None of this should be difficult. None of this should be hard for you. If it is, you're doing it all wrong. If it is, you're doing it so wrong. Mustard seeds. I say that's about 3 pinches of mustard seeds. I'm holding my right hand over it. These are already activated. Something as simple as saying, creature of the earth, creature of the seed, spirit of mustard seeds, I activate you and I infuse you with my essence and my power. I consecrate you and awaken the baneful properties within you. Then add those in. Be careful with these because, especially with the gloves, they might roll off. There's 1 or 2 here. Okay. So try and put your implements aside, because in these rites, in these spells, what I've noticed is sometimes I'm so involved in the energy of one thing that I forget what I've completely added into it. And we don't want to do that. Basswood oil. Creature of oil, spirit, bat's blood oil. I activate you and I consecrate you and I awaken the baneful powers within you. Chaos, havoc and wrath, and all the wickedness contained herein, and all the wickedness contained herein, and all the wickedness contained herein. That one was a little more difficult. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 drops. 13 drops of the batch glove oil. Every now and then I do want to bring my hand over it and sense it. Okay. Now cut open your lemon. I make an insertion here, then I go around. I don't open it completely up. Actually, this one's gone off a little more than I expected, which is perfect for Baneful Magick, you know. The seeds drop in there, don't worry about it. Spirit of lemon, spirit of bitterness and sourness. Spirit of lemon, spirit of sourness and bitterness. You're going to get your hands dirty. You're going to get the area dirty, right? So be prepared for that. Creature of lemon. Creature of the earth. Spirit of lemon. Creature of bitterness and sourness. I awaken you within. I awaken you within. I awaken you within. Whew. Hands are soaked. Don't worry though, like I said, this is normal to get messy. It is normal to get messy. This is Baneful Magick. It's not going to be pretty. You are not going to keep clean, my friends. Take your nails, be careful with these. If they're anything like mine, I've got the old nails. The old spiked ones, not the screw ones. Brown, rotten, twisted. Like what I want to induce in his life. I want my target's life to be twisted. The nail that strikes him, I am the hammer, and the spell is the nail. To cement him in his place, in a place that I want him to be in, to bind him to his own arrogance, his own hatred, and his own abuse that he's caused women and children. That's what this man has done. Abused women and children. Creatures of metal. Spirit of these nails. I place you into this spell. To dominate, to seal, to cause pain and misery, to hurt and to cause agony upon the mind, the body, the soul and the life of And I whispered the name there because, of course, like I said, I'm not going to reveal my target. Wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Now, let's step it up a notch. Let's take this to the next level. Baneful Elixir. I activate you. With the intent of empowering this curse, empowering this spell, act as the sword of righteous judgment. Be the venoms of my hatred towards this man. Death and destruction, chaos and annihilation, darkness and sorrow, madness and misfortune, weakness and pain. Revoke all his good fortunes, turn his health and vitality into sickness and illness, and may he be consumed by this never-ending cycle. Gotta be very careful when I'm holding this stuff right here. I always make sure that I didn't tip any. No, it looks like we're good. We're good. Okay. Now, set these aside. I take my black candle here. I'm going to gaze into it. You want to gaze into the black candle. And you should have performed the wrathful meditation at the very beginning of this course. If not, then do that now. Do that now. Gaze into the flame. But what I'm doing is I'm gazing into the flame. I'm feeling that force within me emanate even more so. And the flame of the black candle enlivens the wicked plans in my mind. It illuminates the vision of this abominable rite. Now I'll take the sigil of Pazuzu. It's already been drenched. It's already been sitting on the radionics box. It's already charged everything. But I'll open it again. Even though it's already opened, I'll open it again. And I'll speak my final decree onto Pazuzu. And then I will add his sigil into this jar. Pazuzu, demons of the ferocious wind, devil of pestilence and of famine, master of the locusts, I have called you once to the seal, and I call you again. I place your sign within the seal. Pazuzu, empower this rite. Breathe the locusts into this jar. Spread your destructive essence into the life of he who shall not be named. Thank you, Pazuzu. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Before we go placing anything of the target into this, before we go doing anything like that, seal the jar up as tightly as possible. Make sure it's as tightly as possible. Now, I would suggest that you get yourself a mason jar that does not leak. You do not want this going everywhere, okay? You don't. You just don't. and shake the contents of the jar. Do not shake it just to mix it, shake it violently. Look at the murkiness of your spell and shake it with hate, shake it with rage. You have to be predatorial with this, you have to be murderous sometimes with this, as if your hands are around the throat of the person you hate the most, and shake, shake, shake. Toss anger into it, into the motions of the ritual. And as you do it, push that fire, that actual energetic fire, through the jar. So as I was shaking it, the energy that we bring forth through that meditation was infused into the jar. I will be saying my target's name internally. However, I will be directly placing the baneful oil, the baneful elixir, onto his symbol, onto his face. I anoint you in the venoms of your demise. I drown you within this poison, within this elixir. You are being brought forth and sentenced. And this is your trial. As I do this, I gaze into the face of my target, and I visualize them as they may be now, cocky and arrogant, thinking they're getting away with everything. And the closer and slowly as I hold it over the jar, I see that vision change completely, and they begin becoming less sure of themselves. As I hold him over the mouth of the jar, his fate is forever changed. At this point, you should speak their name, like I'm doing internally. Speak their birth date, whatever. I bind you. I bind you and I lock you up. I bind you. I bind you and I lock you up. I seal you up to your fate, up to your destiny, up to your doom, to your despair. May all your good fortunes be revoked. May your friends and family turn against you. Your strength becomes weakness. Your peace becomes havoc. Your beauty becomes ugliness. I bind you now and your hidden face is shown. Your true colours are shown, and all those that see your ugliness shall turn against you. You will have no love. You will not be able to feel love. I spiritually castrate you and doom you to a life of sexual impotence, of sexual dysfunction. I seal you up to this misery, to this doom. for your lucky. This is all I am doing to you. I'll take this and I'll push this down. Make sure the photograph gets all the way in there. Feel the anger, feel the rage and the hatred, and visualize that fire emanating from your being down out of your arms, in throughout your hands into the jar. Israchu, Mantantu, Vespacha, Kaltamu, Israanta, Mankala, Mantachu, Beltazu, Vaskala, Israchu, Kantantu, Verschach. And what I'm doing here, that is known as circumambulation. Just like you would circumambulate around a circle. You would go clockwise for rituals of empowerment, beneficial rituals, good magic, you know, magic that even if it's demonic in nature, you can still go clockwise. However, this is the Baneful Magick. This is nothing but a dark magic. So I take it and I move it counterclockwise around the candle. Because I consecrated this candle beforehand, like we did with the candle section of the course. What do you do with this now? That's probably your question, right? What do you do with this now? For the next 9 days, let it sit. Cover it with something to let the energies truly fester. If not, if you want to do this right away, that's fine. That's fine. And I actually prefer that. I prefer that. Get a black candle. Make an incision here. It's a little difficult. It's a little tricky. Find some way to push down the metal and separate it just a bit. I take the bottom of my candle and I melt the bottom and I shove it right through. And then when it stops melting, I hold it there and I allow it to become hard again. And I actually allow the black candle to actually go into the liquid and the rest of it sit in the top here. I then would anoint that with the Baneful Elixir. If that isn't possible for you, then you should have the bat's blood oil here. Anoint it with that. If that's not possible, then just consecrate it like we did with the original black candle. Place that on top. Place this upon your altar. In the west or in the north, this should be done, but if not possible, just place it on your altar. Black candle here, gazing into the flame and visualizing the demise of your target. Well, when I say demise, that's what I'm doing it for. You may be doing it for different reasons, you know. Visualize the suffering, Visualize what you want to occur. And that will happen. Visualize his face or her face or their face in the murky water. As if this isn't just a mason jar, as if it's a huge container, a huge transparent container, and you've like literally kidnapped them and placed them in that murky water, and you're watching them drown. Gaze into the flame. Speak to the flame like this. Creature of flame, spirit of fire, be you the gateway into the heart, body, mind, and soul of, and then state their name and push your will into that, infuse your energy into that. You'll notice a significant difference in that candle. And when you gaze into that flame, wherever you project into it, you are projecting directly to them through the fire. The spell, the entity, all these things will then combine. Now you should have done some sigilic work. Of course, we've gone through sigils, we've gone through all of this. This is going to shock you. What do you do then once it's all done? Once you've burnt the candle all the way down? You can't leave the candle burn forever in some instances, so blow it out and then relight it. But the vital important thing to do before you end is through the flame, through the last bit of the candle, gather all the anger you can muster, all the rage you can muster, all that power and hatred, that emotion, because Baneful Magick without emotion will take a very long time, and as I have seen, is very ineffective. People can tell me that I have done it like this, I have done it like that, but I have always seen that unless you immerse yourself entirely, especially your emotions, into these rituals, you're not going to have the same results. And do not worry about it falling back on you. This is directly going to the target. Once the candle is fully burnt down and the jar spell, there are two things you can do here. One, you can take this and bury it. If you're doing rites to really, really, really harm this person, let's say you even try to bring about their death, bury it in a cemetery. Cover it with black or purple cloth. And bury it in the cemetery. Leave an offering at the cemetery too. This can be anything. This can be anything. Drop of your blood. A little bit of whiskey, rum, wine onto the cemetery floor. Silver coins on a specific headstone that you feel drawn to. Because the graveyard, trust me, from being a necromancer, you'll understand the graveyard, she is alive, and she is a she. The graveyard is alive. Pay her respects. If you don't want to do it that way, another way to do it is gather the candle, gather the jar, gather everything like you should have buried. But in the case that you can't bury it in a cemetery, go out, make a fire, a big fire or a little campfire, and smash it in the flames. And as it burns, as everything burns, watch the life burn away with it. Watch their life, their dreams, their hopes, whatever you're trying to burn, watch that burn away. This has been Baneful Magick, but a section on jar spells. Now, this is a very, very potent jar spell that I am giving to you guys because I've used it multiple times and got multiple successes. My clients have also had this done for them and I've had multiple successes. My students I've also used this and I've had successes. However, you can do your own little thing on this too. For example, I would add Barbie Garrett's Slap Water, her Apocalypse Water into this to bring about that apocalypse churning, chaotic energy. I would add in various other things too, like Devil's Dung, Asafida, Graveyard Dirt, you know. All depends on what I'm trying to achieve. But if you want to tailor it to yourself specifically, go ahead and add extra things into it. But these main ingredients, try and keep them. Try and keep them because they do complement each other and they're not just random pieces brought together randomly. But like I said, if you ain't got the Baneful Elixir, you can go pick that up at the Infernal Obelisk Facebook page. And if not, hey, don't stress. So brothers and sisters, I hope you enjoyed this. Till we meet again. Goodbye for now.